Hi everyone, I am here today in my dressing gown. I don't even want to apologise for it. It is freezing today and I couldn't get warm, so I'm keeping this on. I don't care. But I'm here today with this week's reading wrap up, and I read 3 books this week. 2 of those were audiobooks and 1 was a book from the publisher via NetGalley. So the first book I want to talk to you about this week is an audiobook that I absolutely adored, and that is book 1 from the Chaos Walking trilogy by Patrick Ness, and the book is called The Knife of Never Letting Go. Now, so many people have read this book. This is such a big book on YouTube. It's done the rounds so many times, but I hadn't got around to picking it up, and so several months ago I picked up the audiobook cheap, and I was like, I'll get around to it at some point, and I finally got around to it, and I wish I'd got to it sooner because, oh my god, this book. I gave it 4 stars, and it would have got 5 stars from me, but I had a few issues with it here and there. In case you're not aware, this book is a young adult series. It's dystopian, and basically we follow a young boy named Todd, and he is the last boy in the place where he's living called Prentisstown. Everyone else has become an adult. We pick up the story as he is not too far away from becoming an adult, but he's frustrated because he feels like he is treated like a child a lot of the time, because he is, but I digress. He feels left out and excluded a lot, so he goes off on his own with his dog Manchi. Oh my god, that dog. I want a dog called Manchi that is like that. And Todd can actually hear Manchi's thoughts. I mean, what kind of cool idea is that, to be able to hear your dog's thoughts, to know what he's thinking, his loyalty to you, everything. It's just, oh my goodness. Manchi was my favourite part about this book, 110%. And you learn that Todd hearing these thoughts is called like noise. You can hear the noise of the thoughts, and everyone in Prentisstown can hear each other's noise, which is fine unless you are harbouring a dangerous secret. Todd's sort of adoptive guardians, whose names I can't remember. That's the problem when you listen to audiobooks. One of them's called Tom, the other one's like some really weird name, like Gillian or something like that. I don't remember. But anyway, those 2 have been keeping something from Todd, and it's a life or death kind of thing, and all of a sudden it all catches up with them because Todd discovers something he shouldn't in a swamp, and it all kicks off from there. Todd has to leave in a hurry, like literally run, go. He isn't really sure where he's going, what he's doing, but he runs off anyway with Manchi, and we pick up the story from there, and it's just so fantastic. I think my main issue with this book was just that I struggled to connect with the characters. I connected with Manchi, 150%. I cared about that dog. But I didn't care about Todd, or any of the other characters in there really, and so that was just a missing connection for me. It was a bit of a shame, and yeah, meant that I could only give this book 4 stars. There is also something else that happens. I can't speak about it too much. I don't give away spoilers. So something happens in this book that royally peed me off. I really got so angry and so upset, and so was tempted to give up on the book just because of this, and I didn't, but I'll leave that at that. Read into that what you will. Overall, still a great book. I've already picked up the second book on audio, and will hopefully be getting to that sooner rather than later. And can I just say that if you haven't picked that series up and you're not sure whether to pick up a physical copy or the audiobook copy, this is one of those books that work fantastically as an audiobook. I will be doing a full review sometime soon, and keep an eye out for that because it is such a fantastic audiobook. Next we have the second audiobook that I finished this week, and that was The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. And this is a reread for me, although I hesitate to call it a reread when I literally haven't read it in probably over 20 years. And so I always say when I'm rereading a children's book that for the most part, most of them work really well if you read them as an adult too. I didn't get that with this one. I didn't really care. I wasn't attached to any characters. I didn't get the nostalgia buzz that I usually get when picking up a book that I read as a child. I just didn't overly enjoy it. I would have given it 2 stars. Shocking, I know. But I bumped it up to 3 because the last chapter was actually fantastic. I really enjoyed the last chapter, but you can't depend on just the last chapter to get you through a book. But I really, really enjoyed that last chapter, and it really helped improve the experience for me. So yeah, 3 stars. Didn't enjoy it. Not sure whether it's just me or whether it's one of those books that don't work for adults. And so the final book I read this week is Girl Unknown by Karen Perry. This is actually the pen name of 2 authors, and they have sort of mished and mashed their names together for when they write together. And the authors are Dublin based, and they are Paul Perry and Karen Gillies. Is that how you say it? I'm not sure. And yeah, they've written quite a few books together from what I've noticed, but I've never heard of them or this pen name before, so complete coincidence that I managed to pick this book up. But I would definitely be checking both of their writing out, both as they work together and as separate entities, because I really enjoyed this book. I received this book from Penguin via NetGalley, so thank you so much. And I gave it 4 stars. And to be honest, when I finished this book, I had one of those, what do I want to rate this book moments, because I was sat there thinking 4 stars or 5 stars, because as many of you may be aware, if you've been watching my channel quite a while, I've given up on half-star marks. I just want to keep everything really nice and clear. So I was like 4 or 5, 4 or 5, and I was like, I shouldn't have to think about it if it's a 5-star book. I should just be like 5 stars, oh my god. So 4 stars. And this is a psychological thriller that has, through most of the book, just dual perspectives of a husband and wife named Caroline and David. And they have been going through some issues over the last year or so. Caroline had almost an affair. You can't call it a full-on affair because there was no sexual relationship involved, but it might have got there eventually. Meanwhile, David is so sucked into his work. He is a university lecturer who is trying to go for a professorship, and so they're both wrapped up in their lives. They've got 2 kids who are excellent but very different kids called Robbie and Holly. I think that's her name. I'm terrible with names. And life is slowly recovering from Caroline's awful betrayal the year before. And so we pick up the story with David sat in his office when one of his students comes and knocks on his door, walks in and announces, totally out of the blue, that she thinks, well, as far as she's concerned, she knows that David is her father. And he's like, what? No, you can't be. You can't be my daughter. And then she mentions Linda, who is David's ex, and talks about things from there. David starts to believe her a little bit, but not 100%. And so he meets up with her at some point and sneaks her hair off her and does a DNA test, and that comes back not conclusive. He's done this behind her back. He's done this behind his wife's back. And from here he doesn't really know what to do, because he isn't any the wiser. And this would all be fine if it wasn't the fact that Zoe seems to be causing a lot of problems in the family. The psychological thriller aspect of this is you see David's perspective where he's like, oh, Zoe's such an innocent person. She's this, she's that, she's wonderful. And then you get Caroline's perspective where she's like, this girl is poison. She's so frosty. She's all like sweetness and light with David, but the moment he turns his back, she's a bitch. And you're like, okay, whose perspective am I getting the real Zoe from here? And that is something that crops up throughout the book. So many different scenarios happen. There are so many arguments on all sorts of sides. Zoe's past comes out via other people, which makes you doubt even more whose perspective of Zoe is the correct one. And I was really getting into this by midway. I was like full on loving this. And then I started guessing how it all might end. And I got towards the end and I was really surprised to be really wrong. And I was like, yes, 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 I'm so wrong. This is amazing. And then something else happened. And from there I was able to guess exactly why it had happened. And I was really annoyed because I was right. And I was like, oh, too predictable after all. So yeah, if it hadn't have had that little predictable bit at the end, then maybe this would have been a 5-star read. The long and the short of this is, if you enjoy psychological thrillers, you need to pick this up. This book actually comes out tomorrow, so I'll be doing a full-length review tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that if you want to know my deeper thoughts about character development and this, that and the other, and more in-depth plot, with no spoilers though. Highly recommend this book if you're into psychological thrillers, because it messed with my head. And so that is all the books that I read this last week. Now, next week, I've got a feeling that next week's wrap-up might be quite big, because I'm over halfway on my current audiobook, which is Swallows and Amazons, and I'm not overly enjoying it, to be honest, but it's quite a quick one, so I'll be done with it soon. On my Kindle, I'm currently reading the 4th book in the series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket, which is The Miserable Mill, and that's a really short book, so I expect to be done with that in even worst case scenario a couple of nights' time. I also want to try and sort out this ridiculous physical book pile that I've got going on. I never have this many physical books going on. This is the effect of too many readathons in a row where I don't finish stuff. So I'm reading The Hobbit by J.R. Tolkien. I want to get this done. I'm really gutted that I had to put Night Film by Marisha Pessl on hold because of starting a different readathon, and so I want to get to this and I want to finish it. Same story with The Rosie Project by Graham Simsian, because I was really enjoying this and I had to put this down to pick up Night Film. I put down Night Film to pick up The Hobbit. You get the idea. I want to just get all of these done and dusted so I can start my Harry Potter reread. So thank you very much for watching. If you've read any of these books and you want to discuss them down below, feel free to. I am more than happy to chat. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more book reviews and other bookish content from me, and I will see you tomorrow with my review. Bye bye!